Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Tuesday, February 11th, 2025. It's the Vatican's 96th birthday today. What I want to talk about in this stream is a few things, and namely Donald Trump's tariffs and why they were enacted on February 1st in tribute to history. If you've ever taken an economics class, surely you've learned about Adam Smith, the father of economics, who published the book The Wealth of Nations in 1776, the same year America was born. And in that book, he violently argues against tariffs. He says they lead to destruction of nations. And he also talks about how tariffs can lead to war between nations. So Donald Trump, who's coming in and imposing these 25% tariffs, which are pretty extreme for tariffs in 2025. And remember, he first proposed it on November 25th. Again, we're going to talk about how ritualistic all of this is and how it's not really Donald Trump who's imposing these tariffs. He's the character actor playing out the script that's written for him in the political theater. And again, what's going on is a play on those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it. So we're going to look more at this. We're also going to take another look at Trump's remarks that all hell will break out in Gaza on Saturday if by noon Eastern time all of the hostages aren't released. It's a very recurring pattern that we've been talking about since the war broke out in the time of Joe Biden's presidency. And I did do a video on this the other day, and it seemingly got no views. This is really important right here. Again, I covered how Elon Musk's Nazi salute was a tribute to Wernher von Braun, who wrote the book Project Mars about the Elon, and how that Nazi salute was no doubt a tribute to him. And then 18 days later, the news broke that Wernher von Braun's wife had died. But what day did she die? She died on Inauguration Day, the same day as the Nazi salute. And again, really, I mean, the video I did on this didn't even get 2,000 views. It should have 200 million views. Everyone should know what's going on in the United States of America. And there's over 300 million people here, but then again, a lot more children. So I say it should have at least 200 million views. It really should, in the age where pretty much everybody has an internet connection and smartphone in their pocket. This stuff needs to be known. So let's start right here with The Wealth of Nations, published 248 years and change ago. It'll turn 249 March 9th this year. Again, 248's been a huge theme with Donald Trump. When the election was called for him in 2016, he was on 248 electoral votes. At the time, he was determined to be the winner. At the same time, Bill and Hillary came out and conceded in purple. And remember, this year, Oprah and Kamala had a little get together in the 248 area code 47 days before the election that President Donald Trump won while the country's 248 years old. Again, if you're new here, I talk about Gematria, the Kabbalistic practice of coding numbers into words, because it provides meaning to the ritualism and the rigging that we see going on every day. You know, it's like yesterday I talked about why Luka was showing up on the Lakers, the ritual with that. Who's pulling the puppet strings on the rigged NBA, talk specifically about the number 113. Did you see the score in Luka's debut? Yeah, the Utah Jazz, the 113 team in the league, lost with 113 points. Again, you learn these numbers, you see how rigged the game is. Like how we told you 4 years in advance why Donald Trump was coming back in 2024. Like how we told you before 2020 why it was rigged for Biden. Like how we told you in 2015, the first day Trump took the stage at the GOP debate, that it looked like it was rigged for him in 2015 when everyone thought it was a joke. So anyhow, look at this, you guys. Look at this. The Wealth of Nations, where Adam Smith, the father of economics, says tariffs are a very bad thing that lead to the destruction of economies and potentially wars. From the anniversary of that publishing date, March 9th, to Trump imposing his tariffs on February 1st, exactly 47 weeks after the anniversary of the publishing date. Exactly 47 weeks. And then again, Gematria, you know, it just tells you the rest of the story. If you're new here, there are 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. You got to know all 4 ciphers to see through all the ritualism, and we're going to talk about that here with the word tariffs and the 4 ciphers. But yes, tariffs 47. And like we've been talking about, everything Donald Trump is doing is a 47 ritual. He wants the Panama Canal back 47 years after it was given away. He's out of WHO, which is established on 47. The Stargate project, massive 47 tribute. The last Stargate project was 47 years ago by the government, and the leader of that was born in 47, and a million other things. And understand, the 47 rituals didn't start with Trump as him being number 47. They've been going on for a long time. Like in 2020, when he was saying, I've done more in 47 months than Joe Biden's done in 47 years. It was a sign that he would win this election. And of course he did, and put a big asterisk next to win, because these people don't win. They're rigged. They're chosen. They win the rigged selection. They're selections, not elections. They put in the perfect puppet with the perfect numbers, who are symbolic for the right reasons in their time. The United States of America is old. Its infrastructure is falling apart. It's falling behind the rest of the world. They put in senile Joe, and now being replaced by a man even older than Joe Biden when Joe Biden took office. They were both 78, but Trump's even further into being 78 as he starts his term. But yes, exactly 47 weeks after the publishing of the most famous book that argues for why tariffs should never be imposed. And we'll talk more about this. But again, reminding of who are the puppeteers in the base ciphers. Trump also equates to 25, like Pope, going with his 25% tariffs that he first mentioned on November 25th, 20 days after the election. Again, Donald Trump is Jesuit educated. We're in the time of the first Jesuit Pope, Pope Francis. And remember, Pope Francis equals 58, and Trump's first election was in the 58th election, where he announced from the 58-story Trump Tower, and it was perfectly coordinated with the Pope, just like it was for Biden. Biden became number 46 exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, when in Gematria, Catholic equals 46, and there's 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament. And the only other Catholic president, JFK, was killed at 46. Again, forwards and backwards. Catholic also equals 35. JFK, number 35, first Catholic, killed on I-35. Joe Biden, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, inaugurated on the Pope's 35th day of his age. But with regards to the Pope and the Jesuits running the whole show, again, D.C. is where they set up their camp when they came to this country. First recognized president the year that they established Georgetown, the first Jesuit university in 1789. Again, Jesuits run the nation. We're on the Jesuit calendar that says I'm giving this broadcast February 11th, 2025. The only reason anyone thinks that today is February 11th, 2025 is because of the Jesuits in the Catholic Church. Remember, a 52-week calendar for the Pope, when Pope also equals 52. But notice, the tariffs were imposed on the 47th day of the Pope's age. Exactly 47 weeks after the father of economics book about why nations should not use tariffs because they're destructive. And remember what I've been telling you guys about how it looks like the script is that there will be major economic consequences for the United States of America. There were when Grover Cleveland had his second split term. And again, we've been talking about Trump having his convention in Cleveland back in 2016, and now it's been 132 years since there was a split term president. The only other one, Grover Cleveland, and split term equals 132, like United States of America, like the rooms in the White House. And don't forget the Catholic Church equals 132, and so does Roman Catholic, and so does Antonin Scalia, the first Roman Catholic Supreme Court justice, who was found dead on the 13th day of the second month, on the 44th day of the year, in the time of number 44, when instantly the conspiracies began that Obama offed him. But anyway, again, Trump and Pope 25% tariffs, first imposed on the 47th day of the Pope's age. And keep in mind, the Pope is 88 years old right now. He turned 88 December 17th, 2024. One of the things we were saying years in advance why it would make sense for Trump to come back while the Pope is 88. Big number with Trump is 88. The Mar-a-Lago raid on 88. His first tax plan unveiled on 88. Came out to Queen, We Are the Champions, 88 days after Elizabeth's birthday in Cleveland, when, again, Trump equals 88, like Elizabeth, like purple. Everyone's conceding to Trump in purple, from Bill and Hillary to Jill walking out of the White House this time in purple, to what happened to Prince, Mr. Purple Rain, R.I.P. But notice how Trump and Adam Smith are both 88, right? So they have this ritual defying Adam Smith. People really roll over in their graves. Surely he is. But just perfectly coordinated with the 88-year-old Pope on a calendar that was made for the Pope. In a world where we all know the phrase, all roads lead to Rome. In a nation's capital where it's all Roman architecture. And just for some more 47s, remember Francis and Vatican equals 47. Last year was the first ever Super Bowl on the Vatican's birthday, 47 points in the game. The Vatican's birthday is 211. 211 is the 47th prime. For the record, The Apprentice is also 211, the first degree of Freemasonry, Trump's alias. Again, when the Chiefs beat the Niners in the Super Bowl last year on 211, it made it so that Andy Reid and Mahomes Super Bowls, there were 211 combined points. Vatican also equals 25. The winning score last year was 25 points, like Pope and Trump equal 25. It's a reminder that when Trump first became president back in 2017, the first Super Bowl was the 25-point comeback on 2-5. The Pope also blessed that Super Bowl, had the Jesuit-educated quarterback, went to Boston College, giving up the 25-point lead to Brady on 2-5 so he could become 5-2 in Super Bowls. The same Brady that's kissed the Pope's hand, not Pope Francis, but Pope John Paul II. And again, in case you're new here and somehow don't know this, 47, just huge number in DC. The 47th problem of Euclid is studied by the Masons. Modern Freemasonry has a lot to do with the Jesuits. Again, the 47th problem of Euclid. Very important. Trump, I've done more in 47 months than Biden's done in 47 years. Don't forget that Biden became a senator in 72, the same year Nixon won the presidency, which was the 47th presidential election. Biden also took office with a 47-year-old Obama, the same Obama who joked that Trump would become number 45 on the 45th birthday of the Church of Satan when the highest degree is mega. But okay, president, 47, White House, 47, government, 47, authority, 47, Republican, 47, Whig, 47, Democrat, 47. Don't forget, Lincoln made the Whig Party into the Republican Party, and he gave that famous speech where he says 7 years ago. Again, DC 47, Trump 47, the list goes on. Things of authority have a lot to do with 47. Time, 47, the ultimate authority. News, people take news as their authority. The Vatican, as we mentioned. Don't forget the cornerstone for DC was laid September 18th, 1793, a date with 47 numerology and a Masonic ritual by the Mason George Washington. Again, the Masons studied the 47th problem of Euclid. Freemasonry and Jesuitism have a lot to do with each other. Again, the Scottish Rite shares the Jesuit motto in Merum de Gloriam at the 32nd degree. But okay, the gematria of tariffs in the 4 base ciphers. So with the most simple cipher, it's 79. It's interesting because Trump is 78 right now. Thus, he's in his 79th year of his life, and he will turn 79 this year on June 14th, the flag's birthday. The Eagles win their second Super Bowl in Trump's second term. Again, Trump has the same birthday as the flag from Philly, which is June 14th. 6-14 was the ritual last time the Eagles won. Did you see Mahomes' box score at halftime? 6 for 14 for almost no yards. What a script. Tariffs with the alphabetic order numerology is 34. What day did Trump delay the tariffs on Canada and Mexico? He did it February 3rd, the 34th day of the year, and he delayed them to the 60th day of the year, March 1st, when Donald Trump equals 60. And remember, he just won the 60th election, and his ex-wife died 60 weeks into the first ever Jesuit nation year, which was 45 years after their marriage, the same day he said he would run for president. If you run the alphabetic order in reverse, tariffs equal 110, like president, and these tariffs are Trump's brainchild, right? They're strictly connected to him. And again, Trump does equal 47 as well, but we went very thoroughly over the 47s. Don't forget the day after he delayed the tariffs for for Canada and Mexico, the day after was the 35th day of the year, February 4th. China began a trade war that day. Again, tariffs lead to wars. This is Adam Smith, 1776. War equals 42. With numerology, World War is 42. 35th day of the year, China 35. Just like Gaza, that was the day Trump unveiled his Gaza plan, as we covered. But again, all events unfolding by the code. And remember, the Jesuits have been in China for longer than the US has existed. China is very much under Jesuit control, just as the US is. And in light of Trump doing something that Adam Smith would have thought favorably of by delaying, at least delaying and possibly canceling. We'll see if they end up getting canceled by then. Notice from Adam Smith's death anniversary, July 17th, until Trump delayed the tariffs, it was 201 days later. And what do we know about 177 and 201? A favorite Jesuit pairing that happens again and again and again. You look into the Jesuits being preserved by Catherine the Great. She became the leader of Russia because her husband died unexpectedly on the same date, July 17th. Event 201, the scandemic simulation, put on by the Jesuit Klaus Schwab, whose name is 177. We talked about how the 177 and 201 came together in the Hunter Biden rituals, him being found guilty, him being pardoned by his father, a million other things too. The 177, 201 come together a lot. And these numbers were in the death of Beau Biden as well, at 46, 201 days before the Pope's birthday, before Biden eventually became number 46, inaugurated on the 201st day of the nation's age, the 20th of January. But yeah, again, I mean, I don't know how anyone can look at this stuff day after day and think that Trump isn't anything other than a puppet and a stooge, and we're not purposefully being played and led down the wrong path. Because understand what tariffs are. They're taxes on imported goods. So the countries sending in the goods, they will pay 25%, 25% tax. Who ends up paying that tax ultimately? Since their goods are coming in with a tax and they have to make a profit and they want to maintain a profit, prices get raised. So the consumers essentially end up paying for the tax. And that can also be the businesses that consume these products who they need to manufacture. It's like car companies have been put out of business because they can't afford what the tariffs cost for the materials, and now they can't function and be profitable. So tariffs can ultimately destroy a lot of things, and they make everything more expensive for everybody. And just think about this in light of what we've been talking about. The Jesuit Klaus Schwab, the same guy we talked about with the 177-201 connection, he said in the height of the scandemic, by 2030, you'll own nothing and be happy. And prices on everything have radically escalated incredibly across the board. And this is only going to make things more expensive. Again, this isn't Trump's plan. This is part of a larger plan. Now, by the way, the Jesuit order equals 177, like New World Order. Now, is the cabal making things more expensive in this plan that you'll own nothing and be happy by 2030? Are they actually doing it with some idea of good and righteousness? Maybe there is a little bit in their mind. Maybe they really do want to cut back on consumption because of the destruction of the earth and the many beaches and oceans that are just filled up with trash and litter due to overconsumption. But realize they're the same ones that spurred on this model that's destroyed the earth, and now they want to control it and make sure all the profits and gains and their power, everything stays in their control. That's why they're the ones constantly doing the manipulating, and that's what people need to wake up to. Again, the average person is getting squeezed out of the ability to, again, what's this nation supposed to be about? To have the possibility of the pursuit of happiness. It's really hard for the average person to be happy when they're having to grind just to feed themselves, keep a roof over their head. Again, they do want to cut down on population. I'm sure the average person coming out of school right now, and I mean, this kind of been a mindset in a lot of our minds for decades now, that it's hard to have children. You want to bring children to this world, but right now, I mean, it's never been harder. Everything just so astronomically expensive. You can barely take care of yourself. How could you even think about bringing a child into the world to feed them and take care of them, and what things are going to cost in the future if nothing changes? So, again, a plan is being executed. And right now, some people are getting excited about Trump because he's saying, yeah, no more people pretending that they're this gender and competing, and boys competing against girls and all this. All of these things have just been set up as these symbolic, divisive issues. At the end of the day, all these little things he's doing, they're not the things that really have an impact on our life. What has an impact on our life is how expensive everything is, you know? And the one thing is, if they start drilling more and bring back drilling, yeah, they can bring down the cost of things because everything is connected to oil. If it costs more to transport everything, and everything is transported in this consumer world, those costs get taxed on as well. But you got to remember, when you start doing more drilling, you are doing more destruction to the earth. And no doubt humanity, through its consumption and the practices of the world we live in, we have done a lot of damage to the environment. But again, it's just, I guess, well, actually, the one other piece to this too is because the United States, the way it's spent, it just spends like a insane person, and just trying to police the world and nation build, and just all this debt that we brought on. You know, if the government is imposing tariffs, theoretically, the government can pay down more of its deficits. But again, who is really having to pay down the deficits? It ends up being us. We're the people that are now having to pay more for everything. And a lot of this debt, I mean, did we really want it brought on? Did we want all the debt brought on for the war in Ukraine, etc.? And don't forget, the whole war in Ukraine's been a Jesuit ritual, day after day after day. 201 from the very beginning. Biden and Putin meeting 201 days into the first Jesuit nation year to discuss the turmoil before the war broke out in the Donbass region. 201 on the 201st day of the war in Israel, the big other 201 nation. Again, the war between Russia and Ukraine is in ancient Khazaria, where the Ashkenazis come from. On the 201st day of the war in Israel, where Ashkenazis are who live there, we were sending off $95 billion, and don't forget they approved that $95 billion before Biden signed off on the 201st day of the war. But it was approved on Hitler's birthday, whose birth name is Adolphus Hitler, 201, who modeled the SS after the Jesuits. But again, all of this crazy spending on all these needless wars. How about after two towers became zero before they eventually became one? How much crazy money did we spend on that needless war, which led to essentially an opioid crisis, because all we effectively did was kill the Taliban and brought opium production back in Afghanistan. Again, these things are not unrelated. Rudy Giuliani, major cover-up artist for what happened on 9/11, also major cover-up artist for the Sackler family, who essentially had to pay no damages, largely thanks to him. Don't forget, in 1968, fentanyl was approved by the feds, and supposedly too, that's what's going on. Trump is, imposing the tariffs because of all the fentanyl. Again, when you have enough knowledge, you see like, You know what's interesting? Wealth of Nations was published on the 68th day of the year, like Donald John Trump equals 68, like CIA equals 68. Of course, the CIA wasn't created when Wealth of Nations was published, but it does stand for the Catholics in action. Truly, that's why it was created on the 201st day of the Pope's age. But again, the year 68, when fentanyl was approved by the feds, when coronavirus was coined, when 911 was made the national emergency dialing code, when World Trade Center construction began. There's a reason certain numbers are always coming up and recurring. But yeah, Trump is saying that his tariffs are to punish fentanyl coming into the country. It's like, dude, we spend so much money on our borders and security and police, and no, it's coming into the country because they want it in the country. It's also part of the depopulation plan. A lot of the depopulation plan went into motion in 1968, the same year the Yale professor published the book, The Population Bomb, which is 201 pages long. That's why that 201 is also connected on Caitlyn Jenner, and they've been getting the idea in the mind's eye of the children. It's a good idea to mutilate your genitals at a young age before your brain develops. And yeah, Trump's coming back in and reversing some of those things, but that's all just part of the game and the show and the political battle that keeps people invested in the right and left, which are really two wings of the same bird, that at the end of the day are these same Jesuit masters that run this nation. So, okay. Yeah. Again, the Wealth of Nations tariffs joke covered. Again, if you need Cliff Notes because you got here late, again, The Wealth of Nations, written by the father of economics, Adam Smith, from the anniversary of the publishing of his book 248 years ago, while the country's 248, while Mr. 248's in office. Again, from the anniversary of that date, the publishing of the book to the tariffs being imposed was exactly 47 weeks. Like tariffs, like Trump. Okay. And again, who's running the show? They were imposed on the 47th day of the Pope's age while he's 88, when Trump and Anna's they're 88, and Francis and Vatican's 47, etc., etc. All right. Let me cover this one real quick, and then we'll do the all hell breaking loose. Maria von Braun, the wife of Nazi scientist Dr. von Braun, who was instrumental in the moon landing mission, one of the key rocket scientists for NASA, who was brought over in Project Paperclip, which happened on the 201st day of the year, 1 year after the anniversary of the Jesuits trying to assassinate Adolf. Remember, there were a lot of Jesuits in the Nazi party, but there were also a lot of Jesuits who were opposed to it. It was a divide within the Catholic military, at least so the history books say. Remember, September 2023, the New York Times published an article about a letter found in the Vatican archives about how the Pope was very much aware of what the Nazis were up to, but turned a blind eye because he was kind of on board with it. But okay, again, I covered this on February 7th. The news broke on the 38th day of the year in the evening time that Maria von Braun, the wife of Werner von Braun, had died. 38th day of the year, right? As we know in Gematria, death, murder, killing, RIP, they all equal 38. So does Germany. Okay, she was married in Germany in the year 47 to the Nazi scientist Werner von Braun. And again, just about their wedding. Their wedding was March 1st, 1947, 60th day of the year. She dies on the 60th, she died on the 60th U.S. presidential inauguration. Remember, the 60th day of the year is when Trump's tariffs have been delayed too. Remember what happened to Trump's ex-wife, dead exactly 60 weeks into the first Jesuit Ignatian year. But she also died in the 47th week since their wedding anniversary. And remember, her husband died in 77, 47 years ago, and now changed. Later this year will be the 48th anniversary. And again, he wrote the book Project Mars, where Mars has an orbital cycle of 47 years. But in case you missed what I covered on January 20th, again, Elon Musk, little Jesuit pawn. He gives this right-wing fascist salute, reminiscent of the Nazi salute. A lot of people have come out of the woodwork and said, oh, no, it was just a Roman salute, not a Nazi salute. See, here's the difference. Again, look at all the footage online of neo-Nazis doing the salute just like Elon Musk. Again, people are trying to split hairs over the obvious, but just realize right-wing, Mein Kampf, that's the Hitler bio, fascism, they're all 47, right? Sig Heil, the name of the Nazi salute, 47. Werner von Braun, from his birthday, which is just 2 days after Trump's, from his birthday to Elon's salute was the 207th day of his age. Werner von Braun, 207. And again, the wife died on the same day. She died January 20th, but they didn't release the news until the 38th day of the year. They held off 18 days to put out the news. And again, it's frustrating. I mean, you would think that you would have thought this video was enough, that like this video would have got the attention. You'd think, well, actually, if you're awake, you wouldn't think that they would cover this stuff on the real news because it's nothing but propaganda and lies and disinformation. But you would think that people who promote themselves as real news and independent media, you would think way more people would be getting behind this information, or at least discussing it. I mean, seriously, you want to just continue to say that everything's a coincidence? His wife dies the day of this ritual at 96, when Freemason equals 96 and DC is the Masonic Jesuit city. She died 325 days after the anniversary of their wedding. Scottish Rite of Freemasonry, 325. Trump of Scottish ancestry, like Adam Smith. Again, the Scottish Rite of Freemasonry shares the motto with the Jesuits at Marum Dei Gloriam. But yes, again, 207th day of Musk's age, he does the tribute to Werner von Braun, who wrote the book Project Mars about the Elon. Again, that book was published in 53. Elon Musk is 53 years old right now. And it is concerning that he's going to turn 54 this year. Censorship, 54 and 144. He made his offer for Twitter at $54 a share on 14/4. As soon as he took it over, there was instantly more censorship. again, I'd only ever had one post censored before Elon Musk took over. Since he took over, I probably had, well, now my whole thing's been deleted. Again, my whole thing got deleted 1 day after, or excuse me, 1 week to the day of his Nazi salute. My entire thing got deleted. A lot of hard work on there, just down the drain. And it's a reminder that the first time I got deleted on YouTube, it was shortly after Trump became president. It was literally on his birthday. It was June 28, 2017. First time I ever got deleted on the tube. Elon Musk's birthday. And now 1 week after the Nazi salute, my Twitter/X account gone. And what's frustrating is I just decided to pay for the service to get the video streaming service. And I filed a dispute to see if I can get the money back, but they did tell me, they're like, I'm not sure this is going to count. We'll try it out. But they might have within their rights the right to terminate any account. Might all been in the fine print. So, but yeah, this is a person who needs to be boycotted. And I mean, like, really, like, if America had a backbone, it's like, are you really going to drive around a car that represents a man who's doing Nazi salutes? So, yeah, I've decided I'm just going to stay off Twitter. I don't want anything to do with it. Don't forget that Trump's social media, Truth Social equals 47. We've been covering that for a long time. There was a mainstream article years ago about his 47 days of absence on Truth Social. We covered that at the time. Truth Social. There's no truth in the Trump movement. It should be called like Satan Central, Satan Social. How many of those people would stay on there if they realize that Trump is this little satanic thing? Why he runs on Mega, the highest degree of the Church of Satan. But yeah, just remind you about all this ritualism. The day of the salute to Musk's upcoming birthday, 159 days. Look how Project Mars, the name of the book, and Donald Trump overlap. 138, 48, 159. And again, the Project Paperclip and the July plot to assassinate Hitler were on the 201st day of the year, July 20th. 24 years to the day of the moon landing on the 201st day of the year. Remember, Neil Alden Armstrong equals 201, but 24 years to the day matters because Nazis equals 24. This administration elected in 2024. And then right on first day with the big salute. You'll watch, there's plenty of videos out where they'll say, it wasn't a Nazi salute because you don't put your hand to your chest. You square it and put your hand flat like this. So it's like, okay, go through all the footage of Nazi salutes being done by literal Nazis, and plenty are just like this. And again, everything I'm showing here, plus now the death of the wife, and you really still want to argue? I mean, you got to be a special kind of stupid. And there are a lot of people. That's why we are where we are. There are a lot of people who are a special kind of stupid. Don't forget Society of Jesus equals 56, like Adolf Hitler, who supposedly offed himself at age 56, 10 days after his birthday. Again, January 20th, just so people understand, 201st day of the nation's age, when you measure from July 4th. A lot of people don't understand that concept. Pretty elementary. Again, just Warner von Braun, dead 47 years, or excuse me, dead 47 years ago. From his death anniversary to the ritual, 218 days. Trump has the 47 and 218 connection. Remember, Trump's the father of the presidential alert that goes out 218 Eastern time. Holy Roman Empire has that big fat 218. Death also has the 218 connection. Now with the death of the wife, ties in as well. His wife dies 218 days after his death anniversary. While this ritual is going on in the land of all the Roman architecture, where the Holy Roman Empire truly is alive and well, hiding within the name America and the red, white, and blue. And don't forget, I mean, America is named after Amerigo Vespucci, an Italian. The Jesuits are suppressed while the nation's being created, so the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt creates the Illuminati in Germany. Illuminati, an Italian word. And by the way, June 28th, Elon Musk's birthday, is also a day associated with Nazism because of all of the historical events that happened on that day, including Hitler's only trip to France, where the Jesuits are from. Go figure. Again, people don't understand all those billionaires standing behind Trump, those big tech billionaires. The reason they're billionaires is because they are the face of companies that are not theirs. They're the puppets in position. And what those companies really are the private, well, excuse me, they're not private. They are the federal government masquerading as private companies. And that's why they're so pumped up with tax dollars and government contracts and grants. Again, fascism, you guys, the merger of the corporation and the state. Fascism's been hiding in plain sight in America for a long time. It's just like Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg's up there. Look at what day Facebook launched. February 4th, 2004. What happened on that same day? The military technology branch, DARPA, ended their project that was pretty much just like Facebook, LifeLog. LifeLog ends, Facebook launches. This is the government. This is the military. They run big tech. Who developed the internet, by the way? Was it not developed by the U.S. military? I thought it was Al Gore. It's the U.S. military. And for the type of people who have the thinking like, well, then why are we even doing this? Why don't we all get off here? That is an argument, but at the same time, it's like, well, all things are dualistic. There's a good and a bad side to everything. If this technology exists that you can reach people and get out a message and wake people up, then that's what you should be using the tool for. That's what I choose to use the internet for. That's what I make my primary purpose at this day and age, where you can still get on a message, of using the internet for. The average person, what are they using the internet for? To stream video games, movies, pornography, to waste their time on social media, keeping up with the Joneses. Anyway, coming back to this. When the war broke out in Israel, by the numbers, again, we nearly called to the day what day the war would break out, the day Netanyahu came back. And remember, Benjamin Netanyahu equals 282. The war began 282 days after he returned to power. On the anniversary of Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars, where the third one's going to be centered on political Zionism. And again, now Trump's back in office, and he's continuing the same pattern that this war began with. The war began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. Excuse me. The date it began, October 7th, can be written 7/10, like 7/10. So it kind of has the 71 sequence in it. But notice, Trump's given this ultimatum for February 15th, this Saturday, exactly 71 weeks after the war began. And he said all hell will break loose. Again, hell has the gematria of 71. Mr. Mega, Church of Satan, fits together nicely. A lot of people say the Catholic Church is the whore of Babylon. Again, Catholic in the 4 base ciphers. This is how you can see Israel is a Catholic inception from the beginning up to the present. Catholic, 71. The war began again on Putin's 71st birthday. And don't forget, when Tucker Carlson interviewed Putin, Putin began by saying, well, can I go over a short history of how this has happened in this country? What did Putin talk about for the first 30 minutes of the interview? The history of the Catholic Church and the Russian Orthodox Church, and how it's created these political divides that's led to this war between what was once just the Soviet Union. And I imagine it might happen in our lifetimes. It might happen after our lifetimes. I imagine at some point they'll do the exact same thing with the United States that they've done with the Soviet Union. They'll break it apart, and then they'll have wars between the broken apart parts of the United States. Because that's been going on in the Soviet Union since it broke apart in the 90s. All these little wars and skirmishes that broke out, and the U.S. has been involved in all of them. Because again, same Jesuit forces. Remember, the Jesuits were preserved in Russia in the time of their suppression as this nation was being created. All these nations are controlled at the end of the day by the same thing, this New World Order, which is the Jesuit order, which is why we're on their calendar, speaking their language. Again, the Catholic Church spread worldwide, the most powerful religious force in the world, Catholicism. And please don't start talking about, oh, well, there's more people who are Islamic. Show me the great wealth and power of Islam, please. Anyhow, Catholic, 71, right? 71. With numerology applied, 35. When Netanyahu declared war on October 8th, the day after the war broke out, it was 35 days before the Superior General's birthday. Gaza equals 35 as well, which is why Trump gave his Gaza plan on the 35th day of the year. Puppet on strings. Israel created on 14/5, the 14th day of May, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. The first Prime Minister, David Ben-Gurion, equals 145. And don't forget, State of Israel equates to 201 like the Holy Bible. David Ben-Gurion died 201 days after May 14th when he passed, the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Again, 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament. Old Testament's the Jewish section of the Bible. That's why it's hard to get people to understand any of this stuff, because it's like they never heard about Gematria. They never heard about Kabbalah. They don't know anything about the Bible. The average American, you go out there and you say, Old Testament, which section is that? They'd look around like dumbfounded. I don't know. The older part of the Bible? I guess technically, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Anyway. In reverse with numerology, Catholic 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, as opposed to 39 in the Protestant Bibles. That's why there's 145 more chapters in Catholic Old Testaments. But isn't it amazing how the whole language is so perfectly coded out? Again, at the same moment the Jesuits gave us the Gregorian calendar is when the English alphabet was standardized with 26 letters. 26 is a very special number. February 15th will also be 26 days after Trump took office. A lot of the media has the phrase all hell emphasized, which equals 26. If you've not read my first book, Letters and Numbers, I just added it to the Patreon on the $1 tier. For $1, you can download both of my ebooks. First chapter of Letters and Numbers is the significance of 26, how it's ultimately the God number, and why it's been encoded in the language by people who play God over us. Again, in the 26th verse of the Bible, God makes Adam. God and Adam equal 26. Remember, we're in the year of the snake, too. You don't got to get too far into Genesis before you get the story of the serpent deceiving. And don't forget Trump and all his times reading off his poem about the snake. You knew I was a snake and you let me in. Now look at me, bringing in the tariffs to oppose the father of economics, to bring more war and destruction to the world. But hey, at least the guys who identify as girls can't compete against the girls. I mean, in a way, don't get me wrong. I've been saying that for a long time. I never thought that would even have to be a conversation in a rational society. But again, I understand that that's the distraction sideshow stuff. Distraction sideshow stuff from the main deal, which is dramatically impacting things that have real consequences on all of our lives, no matter what side of the spectrum you're on that issue. But yeah, again, just all this stuff that's going on. And don't forget, Gaza equals 35 like Satan does, like Baphomet does. Again, the Templars are the reason modern-day Israel is where it is. The Templars were burned at the stake for worshiping Baphomet. They were burned in France, where the Jesuits are from, who are the modern-day Templars, who have the Templar cross right in the middle of their logo. And again, when Trump talked about Gaza, he said he wants to make it look like the French Riviera. Jesuitism also equals 35, like Holy See, like Catholic. Again, the Holy See is the territories the Catholic Church controls, which is no doubt Israel, as well as America, which is pretty much the entire world. And also, don't forget that the 71 weeks, this 71-week ultimatum on February 15th, 71 weeks since the war began, February 15th is the 46th day of the year. Again, Catholic 46, Temple Mount 46. Donald Trump, hold on. Let me just bring this up real quick. I should have this post up already. Again, Donald Trump with the temple coin being used to raise money to build the third temple where Al-Aqsa Mosque is eventually. Okay. Global, look at this, you guys. Global support for third temple coin, breaking news, March 5th, 2018. I mean, seriously, on March 5th, you guys, 3-5, I had to go back and see, like, when all this was going down. So Trump, a little more than a year into office, a little more than a year after visiting, or actually not even quite a year since he visited Jerusalem for Jerusalem Day in 2017, and then he went directly to the Vatican next, posed with the Pope and the Jesuit rituals we covered then. But global support for Third Temple coin. And Trump was in Jerusalem on May 22nd, 2017. Date was 64 numerology. Israel, Zion, Western Wall. In Hebrew, Israel's also 64. So is Netanyahu. But March 5th can be written 5-3 as well. King Cyrus 53, like Tisha B'Av, to remember the destruction of the two temples, which is related to the prophecy of the third temple coming. Temple Mount, when you run it the other way, is also 53. So is religion. From him visiting the Western Wall to this support for the temple coin, 41 weeks on the nose. King is 41. Coin is 41. Zionist is 41. USA is 41. Trump yesterday on February 10th, which was the 41st day of the year, made this threat. And remember, the majority of the world writes that date 10/2 like 102, when art of war equals 102, world war equals 102. Again, the reason the text Art of War is known about is because of the Jesuit priest, Father Amiot, who published it in 1773. But yeah, this is the temple coin that's being used to raise money. The word temple is also 71. Let me see if I wrote down what temple coin is. Oh yeah, temple coin's 158, like Freemasonry, like Jewish state. Temple coin also 112, like Donald, like Zionist, like Judaism. I should have put up there like Catholicism. Again, the Balfour Declaration on November 2nd, 112. December 6th, President Trump on Wednesday formally recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, reversing nearly 7 decades of American foreign policy and setting in motion a plan to move the United States Embassy from Tel Aviv to the fiercely contested Holy City. So 89 days later, they're talking about the temple coin. Religion's 89, chaos is 89, 89 chapters in the gospel. We had our eyes on August 11th, 2019, a long ways out, because that was Tisha B'Av in 2019. And remember, that was the day that the Israeli police stormed Al-Aqsa Mosque and beat down people praying with clubs and fired tear gas all over them. That was exactly 75 weeks from the temple coin to that ritual. And remember, the New York Times article from October 6, 1940, it says New World Order pledged to Jews. It was a date with 75 numerology. We were talking about for years, wait until Israel's 75. Something massive is going to happen there. The war that broke out, that's still ongoing, that broke out October 7th, 2023, that happened while Israel was 75 years old. Again, New World Order, order out of chaos, Catholic Church order. And yeah, see, when I click on this post now, it's been taken down. And Google took this post down, but we've covered that article many a times. Anyone can look it up. October 6, 1940, New World Order pledged to Jews. 33 years to the day later, the Yom Kippur War started. And notice the war that began was 1 day after the anniversary of that article, October 6, 1940. And the war began October 7th, 2023, 83 years later. Remember, murder equals 83. War is essentially legalized murder by the state. The day that the temple coin got praise and international recognition was a date with 46 numerology. And now Trump having this ultimatum by the 46th day of the year. You guys, something you don't want to see happen in your time is Al-Aqsa Mosque blow up and the beginning of the third temple, because again, a lot of Christians see that as when Revelation will unfold, where again, you have the battle of good and evil and fire rains from the sky. And again, you can see how this war drum is beating, and these events are being orchestrated and planned. They're like, no, all this is just God and the Matrix. Yeah, okay. You can't figure it out, right? You know what? Here, God, I'm going to read Genesis 19 in just a moment. Remember, 19 is the ultimate chaos code. I'm going to read Genesis 19. I really want you to think about if God wrote this book or man wrote this book. Because again, I assert that it's clearly written by man, and it was written by these same psychopaths from this same cabal that rule over us and use the thing as a playbook. But I am going to read Genesis 19 here in a minute. It's one of my favorite books in Genesis. But yeah, again, King Cyrus 46, Temple Mount 46, Catholic 46, Religion 46. Now Trump's ultimatum that all hell will break out if all the hostages aren't returned by this day. Big chaos number. A reminder that Trump took office at age 70 years, 7 months and 7 days. Order out of chaos in the Jewish cipher 777. You can see back when it was still named Jewish. Derek's like one of these Orwellians, changing the definitions and meanings of things. But yeah, let's just see. Let's just see real quick from March 5th, 2018 to Trump's ultimatum here. God, 83 months and days. Pretty wild. Pretty wild. That murder number, 83. Remind me of something. Okay. Yeah, just since all this stuff is biblical, let's do a little Genesis 19 reading. I don't like to read the King James version, the Shakespeare version. I like to read this one right here, the New International Version. And they're all encoded, man, as we covered so many times. But this is the story of Sodom and Gomorrah being destroyed. And remember how they played tribute to Sodom and Gomorrah the other year with the 54 new condoms for gay people announced on the 54th day of the year? If you don't know that, total tribute to Sodom and Gomorrah by the numbers. You got to go back and revisit that. It's like in my 18th draft of writing the book that I still haven't finished. It's like, is this the spot to start the book with the ultimate Sodom and Gomorrah joke? But yeah, I'm going to read all of Genesis 19, and I really want you to think, was this book written by God? Or was it clearly written by some demented people? Seriously. The two angels arrived in Sodom in the evening, and Lot was sitting in the gateway of the city. When he saw them, he got up to meet them and bowed down with his face to the ground. "My lords," he said, "please turn aside to your servant's house. You can wash your feet and spend the night, and then go on your way early in the morning." "No," they answered, "we will spend the night in the square." But he insisted so strongly that they did go with him and entered his house. He prepared a meal for them, baking bread without yeast, and they ate. Before they had gone to bed, all the men from every part of the city of Sodom, both young and old, surrounded the house. They called to Lot, "Where are the men who came to you tonight? Bring them out to us so that we can have sex with them." Lot went outside to meet them and shut the door behind him and said, "No, my friends, don't do this wicked thing. Look, I have 2 daughters who have never slept with a man. Let me bring them out to you, and you can do what you like with them. But don't do anything to these men, for they have come under the protection of my roof." "Get out of our way," they replied. "This fellow came here as a foreigner, and now he wants to play the judge. We'll treat you worse than them." They kept bringing pressure on Lot and moved forward to break down the door. But the men inside reached out and pulled Lot back into the house and shut the door. Then they struck the men who were at the door of the house, young and old, with blindness, so that they could not find the door. The 2 men said to Lot, "Do you have anyone else here, sons-in-laws, sons or daughters, or anyone else in the city who belongs to you? Get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The outcry to the Lord against his people is so great that he has sent us to destroy it." So Lot went out and spoke to his sons-in-law who were pledged to marry his daughters. He said, "Hurry and get out of this place because the Lord is about to destroy the city." But his sons-in-law thought he was joking. With the coming of dawn, the angels urged Lot, saying, "Hurry, take your wife and your 2 daughters who are here, or you will be swept away when the city is punished." When he hesitated, the men grasped his hand and the hands of his wife and of his 2 daughters and led them safely out of the city, for the Lord was merciful to them. As soon as they had brought them out, one of them said, "Flee for your lives. Don't look back, and don't stop anywhere in the plain. Flee to the mountains, or you will be swept away." But Lot said to them, "No, my lords, please. Your servant has found favor in your eyes, and you have shown great kindness to me in sparing my life. But I can't flee to the mountains. This disaster will overtake me, and I'll die. Look, here is a town near enough to run to, and it is small. Let me flee to it. It is very small, isn't it? Then my life be spared. He said to him, very well, I will grant this request too. I will not overthrow the town you speak of, but flee there quickly, because I cannot do anything until you reach it. That is why the town was called Zoar. But the time Lot reached Zoar, the sun had risen over the land. Then the Lord rained down burning sulfur on Sodom and Gomorrah from the Lord out of the heavens. Thus he overthrew those cities in the entire plain, destroying all those living in the cities and all the vegetation in the land. But Lot's wife looked back, and she became a pillar of salt. Early the next morning, Abraham got up and returned to the place where he had stood before the Lord. He looked down toward Sodom and Gomorrah, toward all the land of the plain, and he saw dense smoke rising from the land like smoke from a furnace. So when God destroyed the cities of the plain, he remembered Abraham, and he brought Lot out of the catastrophe and overthrew the cities where Lot had lived. Lot and his daughters. Lot and his 2 daughters left Zoar and settled in the mountains, for he was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters lived in a cave. One day the older daughter said to the younger, Our father is old, and there is no man around here to give us children, as is the custom all over the earth. Let's get our father to drink wine and then sleep with him and preserve our family line through our father. That night they got their father to drink wine, and the older daughter went in and slept with him. He was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. The next day the older daughter said to the younger, Last night I slept with my father. Let's get him to drink wine again tonight, and you go in and sleep with him so we can preserve our family line through our father. So they got their father to drink wine that night also, and the younger daughter went in and slept with him. Again, he was not aware of it when she lay down or when she got up. So both of Lot's daughters became pregnant by their father. The older daughter had a son, and she named him Moab. He is the father of the Moabites of today. The younger daughter also had a son, and she named him Ben-Ami. He is the father of the Ammonites of today. Do you think God wrote this book or demented people? And again, how many people who do take this as the word of God have used this as a justification to rape their own daughters? I guarantee you quite a few. So anyhow, other news before I wrap this up. There will be a debate Monday night. Yes, there will be a debate. I have to change the audio setting here for a minute, so if the sounds sound a little bit different, I just want you to hear my opponent, who likes to make fun of my work. He will be arguing that Gematria is not important, and he is a devout religious lunatic who is a Christian who sits around and judges people all day and thinks all you need to know is the Bible. He goes by the name Jim Bob. He's a self-proclaimed comic. And I just want you to hear his remarks, hyping up the debate to his audience this morning. It's very interesting what he said. It seems like he's already ready to take the L. But again, here's Jim Bob's hype for the debate coming this Monday, which will be February 17th. Here he is, Jim Bob in his own words, constant Gematria hater who always has to take stabs at my work, but very well funded for what he does. I mean, he gets on, he's got just super chats flying at him left and right. Here we go.
(9:15 Eastern Standard Time).
Oh, snap. I hit the wrong button, so maybe you cannot hear that. Hold on. Snap. Let's rewind. My bad. I hit the wrong. These audio settings are just too complicated here. Hold on. Let's try that again. Did I go back far enough?
Zach Hubbard, the Gematrinator. But who the hell knows? So yeah, tomorrow I have a debate with Redeem Zoomer, 8 p.m. modern day debate. I will restream it here. Hopefully the tech works this time. But who the hell knows? I will also be having a debate against Zach Hubbard, the Gematrinator, over at Sarah Tomatoes on February 17th, 9:15 Eastern Standard Time. I will be restreaming it. Zach Hubbard is going to give us the standard time. I will be restreaming it. Zach Hubbard is going to give us the goods. He's going to tell us how numbers work and how he wins betting for football games. The question is, Gematria useful or not? I'm going to say no. I'm going to let him spur for 3 hours. I'm going to drink beer and laugh with all of you. Be there. Or be normie. So that should be fun. Reminder to refer to Rattlesnake as my lord. Kick that protest. That was funny. Yeah, my lord. He was technically lord. Jack Blabbard. Yeah, he's going to lose his shit. He's going to ask me, well, do you think this is a Do you think this is? Yeah, he's gonna lose his shit. He's gonna ask me, well, do you think this is a? Do you think this is a? I'm just not gonna. It's gonna be my first debate that I've ever had where you actually don't hear me talk much. Perhaps not. None.
So again, to me, that sums it up right there. He doesn't really have anything to say because he's actually going to have a conversation. See, the only times that him and I have ever tried to converse is he has a panel on, and then he'll bring his different panel members on to interrupt and say all this stupid stuff. But again, he's notorious for saying that my work is dumb, it's pointless, it doesn't do anything. Again, well, seriously, we'll just get into it Monday night. But you just heard it right there. He's not going to say anything. Okay, we'll see if he sticks to that. Should make it an easy slaughter. But yeah, I'll be handing him examples of why the work is very relevant and what it does do. And it'll just be funny to see how he tries to spin out and say, "Oh, yeah, well." Anyway, what I do hope is that he has a lot of people that follow him that like to debate. I hope it will bring on more debates because that is something I've been wanting. I want people to come on and try and debate that this work is relevant when it's horribly relevant, as we demonstrate every day. So. And again, it might have to get into asking what kind of Christian he is because he sits there. I remember like years ago, he was making fun. I went on a stream. Somebody had just died, just been murdered, and I was showing him this, and he was like, "Who cares? Who cares?" It's like, you don't care that people are being murdered. That it doesn't really seem to be a Christian stance. You know, is that what Jesus would do? To say, "Who cares if somebody got murdered?" There's other people to make fun of in the world right now. There's comics to write. Okay, I got to wrap this thing up in 10 minutes, but if you have something to add on to for the topic that was actually discussed, real quick, drop in the link. Again, if you got here late, rewind and get caught up on what was discussed. Again, Trump versus Adam Smith with the tariffs. The ritual is clear. Trump's all hell will break loose if all the hostages aren't freed by the numbers this coming Saturday. And again, the fact that Maria von Braun died the day of Elon's Nazi salute in tribute to Werner von Braun. Truthlight says, why do I entertain these people? Well, I want someone to debate. He's the only guy in the world that heard the call and said he wants to debate me. But then that's the way he announced it to his audience. I thought, that's interesting. So you wanted to debate, and now you tell your audience you don't have anything to say. Interesting. So I'm sure he'll have plenty to say. He likes to run his mouth. Well, hold on. We got Tony in the...
What's going on, Zach? Can you hear me?
It sounds like you're on the Autobahn. What's up?
Oh, man. Just wanted to say thank you for your work, as always. I actually, this is kind of off topic, but I actually saw people trying to hype up, that Gary fraud. I was laughing my ass off at that.
Exactly. I challenge him to a debate. Somehow he gets his goons to delete my X account. That guy is him and I debated plenty of times back in 2016, and he finally ran for the hills after getting humiliated 10 straight weeks in a row. But that guy's a true scammer and fraud.
But in terms of the tariffs, I find it interesting that he's enacting a lot of what Reagan did. Reagan put 100% tariffs on Japan, and it was a complete failure. There was a book written called The Triumph of Politics that discussed the failures of Reaganomics and the tariffs.
History is repeating itself.
Yeah, it is, definitely. And, with the Mars-Jupiter alignment, as we spoke of before, it's chaotic. And I think we are entering a time where we're going to be under the PayPal mafia system.
Yeah, I'd say we're already in that time, and people just don't realize it. It'll get worse.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say thank you. That's pretty much all I got. Beware the PayPal mafia.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take care, Tony. All right. I don't know how Jim Bob does it, though. He gets on there, and he's got the money flowing in every day, talking nothing but nonsense. And maybe it's just the religious thing. You clue in with the religious people who are used to putting money in the plate. I don't know. Maybe that's it. But shout out to Dale, Vivian, Ross, keeping us from going broke on the stream. Elon offered 97.4 for OpenAI. Isus Omnum Salvator is 974 in Satanic. Very interesting. And just that 97, the 25th prime. I think we'll see a lot of that 97 in this year. Interesting. Okay, I didn't catch that headline, but good research. And thank you for the $9.74 donation. I see that. Thank you. What's up, Green Kid?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Have you seen that Netanyahu, just after Trump said this, that he's threatening that if they don't release 9 hostages, the ceasefire will be terminated.
Well, that's what Trump said to do yesterday, right? That's what he said, to terminate the ceasefire.
And just him reiterating that's just letting me know that it's just around the corner, man. War. It's coming. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rams make it to the Super Bowl this year. And kind of sort of the situation what happened in the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl.
Well, we got plenty of time to study that in the offseason. Okay.
Yes, sir. All right, man. That's all I had to add. Keep up the great work.
All right. Appreciate it. Thank you. All right. I got to sign off here in a minute or two, but I'll drop the link one more time. If anybody had anything to add for the topic, the link is in the chat. And we got D26. Here he is. What's up, D26? D26, for some reason I cannot hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Now I can.
Okay, so yeah, I was going to say that I was going to sleep anyway, so might as well join for a few minutes. I have 2 things to talk about, but I will just stick to one thing right now. Regarding my last decode, when I came onto your show, I mentioned about the Fantastic Four, and I don't know how it happened, but after my call-in, I think the very next day, Marvel announced that they are releasing the trailer for Fantastic Four before the Super Bowl, and they released another movie trailer on the Super Bowl night. So they released Fantastic Four on February 4th, maybe because of Feb 4, kind of rhymes with the name. And what's interesting, because I just found out from your live stream that Werner Braun's wife's death, like when she passed away, she did pass away on 20th of Jan, but the news came out recently. The news, all the articles have a very common point, which is they're saying that the news was broken by the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. It was not from the family, so it was from the U.S. Space, from the official body, U.S. Space and Rocket Center. But that governing body had announced the death of the wife of von Braun. What's interesting is also that the trailer was also released with they brought all the cast of Fantastic Four at the US Space Center, the very same place from where the news came out, 4 days after or 3 days after the Fantastic Four trailer. And why it's interesting, because it's all Fantastic Four, if you have read the comics, it's related to all the 60s, all the things that happened in the 60s, the moon landing, the space race, the arms race. So it has all that genre, and there is a lot of 47s into that if you want me to go on. But yeah, that is not to mention, there is one more character in comics as well as in the movie we are going to see, which is called as Silver Surfer. So again, Silver is the 47th element, so that has a lot of connections. At the same time, these all dates happen to be the same, like all nearby. The release of the trailer on February 4th, the death anniversary of Jack Kirby, the guy who created the comics with Stan Lee, that is, his death is on 6th of Feb, and then 7th of Feb we get the news of the passing of Maria von Braun. So it all happens one after the day, like it's all 1 day apart from each other. And I'm still decoding about this. I don't have much regarding right now, but I did wanted to ask you: is there anything regarding space race or regarding NASA with 8th of August? Because I found out that Alexandria equals 89, and I know that 8th of 9, like 9th of August, that's the date I think when Dr. Carrie Mullis passed away in 2019, and that is 201 days after January 20th.
Well, when I think of 88 and space, I just think
89.
of 88 official constellations. So
Sorry to stop you for that. Like pause you on that. I was mentioning about 89, like 9th of August.
9th of
Dr.
August. I heard
Carriers.
August 8th for some reason.
Yeah.
Well, 9th of August is the day leaving 144 days left in the year. Big old Jesuit number. That's the square root of 12. 12 official constellations. Time has the big 144 and 12 connection. The stars are the sky clock. So
Yeah, Fantastic Four has initials of FF, that is 12, 6 and 6. F is the sixth letter. So,
right.
and other things is that I think Werner von Braun, his name equals 207, just like Stanley Kubrick, his name equals 207. And again, the connection with moon landing and all that stuff, Stanley Kubrick was born on the 207th day of the year, on 26th of July. And what's also interesting is that the new movie Fantastic Four is coming one day before the birthday of Stanley Kubrick, who also had the connection, the big conspiracy theory about he was the guy who directed the film that is what we are sold as the moon landing, that conspiracy theory, and also with his famous work in 1968 about 2001 A Space Odyssey, which also talks about space and the entire space exploration part. And the Fantastic Four, I think the official name of that movie is the Fantastic Four: The First Steps. And this, I don't know how many people care about this, because I don't think anyone in this community is as big of a fan of comics as me or like Marvel movies. But they are going to introduce, most likely they're going to introduce the son of the couple in the Fantastic Four, and his name is Franklin Richards, and that would be the first steps. But yes, officially they are marketing First Steps as the first moon landing. So it also has the connections that the entire name, the name of the title of the movie is 337. The director's name is, his name equals 68, which we get all the connection. But I'm still decoding on this. But if I do find anything much more interesting, but yes, the only reason I had made this call was the connection with my previous decode and the coincidence that the trailer was released in the same place from the same body, which also announced the date of the death of Maria von Braun. That's it.
All right. I appreciate it. Thank you as always.
Yeah, thank you for
Take
having me.
care. And just in light of the whole 71 ritual, the war began in a 71 ritual, again on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days for the Pope's birthday. Trump's ultimatum is for 71 weeks exactly into the war. The ceasefire is the thing that's going to get cut if the ultimatum's not met. I mean, look at it. Most simple ciphers: ceasefire, 71. News by the numbers, rituals by the numbers, all planned out by the Kabbalistic code. We have somebody who came on named Trump Quest. Try this out real quick, but I do need to get off. Trump Quest, real quick.
Thank you. Hello. How are you, Zachary? How are you? You're making a lot of very nice points. I think it's incredible, actually. So I had to come on. I'm looking through some of the things that you're looking at. And I'm not going to say anything crazy because I don't need a headline. But I'll tell you this. I think what we're going to do with Gaza is going to be something so beautiful. We're going to flatten it. It's going to be nice and new with all the hotels, all the different hotels, the casinos, the synagogues, everywhere. It's going to be from the river to the sea, nothing but casinos and synagogues. How do we feel about that, Zachary?
Your Trump impersonation is spot on. Well done.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate that, but no, I
Hold on,
really
real quick.
actually
Are you
want
the
to
same guy
know.
on CT's channel that said you were working on the Creed song?
I don't know if I am working on a Creed song,
Okay.
but maybe we'll have to get it through executive order, right?
Okay. All right. Well, you keep it up. I appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, Zachary.
All right. Well done. You take care. Somebody was on CT's channel that did a very good Trump impersonation too, and then he came out with this joke saying that he was working on singing Creeds with arms wide open, which was also very hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I do feel like that was the same person though. That was a very good impersonation. So that's it. That's exactly how Trump would deliver it. Well done. Well done. All right, you guys. I got to wrap it up. We'll leave it there for now, and Good to end with a little comedy. Till next time, Truth Seeker.